Hello again, wrestling fans, and welcome to a very busy week here at the Scumbags Wrestling podcast. We have 4 shows coming up in all these days, and we're starting off today with Fantasy Warfare Tournament. It's Wednesday night, 6 p.m., and I want to thank you for joining us, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, and listening to us later on Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or anywhere else you get your podcasts from. We are part of the Ontario Indie Podcasting Network and the Johners Podcasting Network over in the UK. Plus, we are proud to be sponsored by Coolbet. Stay cool, bet responsibly. And they are the sponsors of all our shows and this championship belt, which you can be a part of winning next year if you have enough points as part of the Scumbags of Wrestling Predictions League. All you have to do is tune into the various pay-per-views from WWE, NXT, AEW, and Impact Wrestling to collect your points. And sometimes along the way, get prizes along with getting points. We also are proud to be on Pro Wrestling Tees, where you can get 4 of our t-shirts at a store, and all of them go to charity, whether it's Jordito's Recovery or Steven's Wrestling Journey. We have more details on that coming up tomorrow on the podcast, and hopefully you joined us last week when we actually had Steven and his mom on the show. But we are doing Fantasy Warfare Tournament, and we're bringing in our panel, Stephen O'Neill, and I believe you're in London still.
I am still in London.
Other than going crazy because you were talking about all the fun adventures with COVID and restaurants and the government, how are you?
Good. This stupid hot weather we've had, though, the last few days. The humidity's killing me.
Yeah, I thought I was going to have a dead air conditioner the other day, but thankfully that recovered. And I recovered, also survived my birthday weekend. So it's all is good. And we're going to bring in...
happy belated birthday. It's been... Oh, fuck, I hate these people. Hi, Jonesy.
Jonesy in Niagara Falls. He also will be doing stuff here in London, or you can be on the lookout for as the announcement for Ribfest. He's part of logistics on that one, and so he's going to be busy coming up too, thanks to the government.
We'll just see how busy I'll be depending on what they allow us to do.
Excellent. How are you, though?
Not bad. Not bad at all. Been just doing... I do a lot of the wrestling research. Now I'm doing other research, so it's kind of refreshing.
Yeah. So we've had a couple of wonky weeks doing live Warfare tournaments and having computer stuff, but we are actually pre-recording this. This is a Tuesday night. NXT is about to start, but luckily we're able to at least not rush to get this done. But tonight's tournament, I was inspired by a picture I saw on Facebook, and I'm just going to put it up quickly. It was 16 Intercontinental Champions since 2016. And it turns out from Kevin Owens starting in February of 2016 all the way to Apollo Crews today, there's actually 16. So it works out perfectly to do sort of a tournament to find out who's the best Intercontinental Champion over the last 5 years to current day. So we're going to run through those 16 guys. We're going to show the video and bring up the bracket, and we'll be back in just a second.
So there you saw. Here's the bracket breakdown. We have AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Braun Strowman, Jeff Hardy versus Apollo Crews, The Miz versus Kevin Owens, Big E versus Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler versus Dean Ambrose, Zack Ryder versus Bobby Lashley, and Roman Reigns versus Finn Balor.
Yeah, so a lot of different title holders, the 16 there. We didn't put them in order of dates to be in there. We just threw them all in and randomized it, and we'll see how it goes. So the first matchup has AJ Styles, the phenomenal one, taking on the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins. So AJ Styles won his first and only IC Championship on June 8th, 2020. This was part of the tournament finals to crown a new champion after Sami Zayn was stripped of it. It was the finals against Daniel Bryan, and WWE recognizes the reign starting on June 12th, 2020, when the match aired on tape delay. And WWE incorrectly listed Styles' reign as lasting only 71 days, ending August 22nd, 2020. He ended up losing it to Jeff Hardy, and he held it basically 74 days. He's going against Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins, in this time frame, has two Intercontinental Championship title reigns. The first one came April 8th, 2018 at WrestleMania 34, and it was part of a triple threat match with Finn Balor, and he held it for 71 days, losing it to Dolph Ziggler in June 18th, 2018. His next one came by beating Dolph Ziggler at SummerSlam, August 19th, 2018, and held it for another 119 days. And then he lost to Dean Ambrose at TLC event December 16th. So looking at these two matchups, Seth Rollins clearly held it a lot longer, had maybe bigger wins due to the fact they were at WrestleMania and SummerSlam and stuff like that. For myself, I'm going with Seth Rollins advancing over AJ Styles. Steven.
I also agree with Seth Rollins. I like AJ Styles, but it's too much. I don't think actually AJ had a good run with the IC title, so I'm going Seth Rollins.
And Jonesy.
I too will make it a triple, and Seth Rollins as well.
Excellent. So Seth Rollins moving on to face Shinsuke Nakamura or Braun Strowman. Steven.
So Shinsuke Nakamura won it July 14th of 2009 at Extreme Rules Kickoff. His first reign lasted 201 days. He won it from Finn Balor, lost it to Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman won it January 31st of 2020 on SmackDown. Lasted 36 days. He won it from Nakamura, lost it to Sami Zayn on a 3-on-1 match. I'm going Shinsuke Nakamura. I actually can't stand Braun Strowman. And unlike when the Big Shows held the IC title, or I'm trying to think of like the bigger guys, I don't. Strowman is not for me, so I'm going Shinsuke.
Jonesy.
Yeah, Strowman has no business having the title put on him. Shinsuke, out of all these guys, he's one of the longest reigns at 201 days. So I'm going to go with him.
Yeah, and Shinsuke seems to be getting a little bit more of a resurgence. I know it was in question whether or not Cesaro was going to sign or not, so Shinsuke ended up getting that one-night push in the gauntlet that he did. Unfortunately, he's in a feud right now with Baron Corbin. But, yeah, I agree. Shinsuke Nakamura, so it's a clean sweep over Braun Strowman. Jonesy, you get Jeff Hardy against Apollo Crews, the current champion.
Okay, so Jeff Harvey, August 21st, 2020, SmackDown is where he won it. It is his fifth reign as IC champion. He did only hold it for 36 days, and he won it from AJ Styles and lost it to Zayn. Apollo Crews, he won it April 11th, 2021, quite recently at WrestleMania 37 on night 2. And in the Nigerian drum fight, which honestly I know I watched, but I can't even remember what happened in that match. So it's his first reign, 40 plus and counting. I'm going to go with Cruz, even though Hardy has had it five times. He's also had the world championship. So Apollo Crews, his first time doing it, he's still has it at whatever number it is now, in what sounded like it was going to be a dumb match, but it turned out to be good. I remember it was good. I just can't remember what the hell happened. So yeah, there you go. I'm going with Crews.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to go with Apollo Crews as well, just because of the fact that we're looking at a time frame from February 15th, 2016 until today. And even though Jeff Hardy has held it 5 times over his entire career with the WWE, which is a long one, off and on, bouncing back and forth between WWE and Impact or TNA, this time frame that we're looking at, he only held it this one time, and it was for 37, 36 days, whichever date you want to go by with WWE. And Apollo Crews, yeah, he won in a Nigerian drum match with getting help from General Aziz, and the stipulation really wasn't that great for being a drum match, but he held on to it just recently on SmackDown in a Fatal 4-Way match as well. Of course, Aleister Black did help take out Big E on that one, but he is still going stronger than having it currently 40 days, and Jeff Hardy only had 37. Kind of a lackluster title reign for Jeff Hardy on that one. Steven?
I'm torn because really my vote doesn't matter. I think Apollo Crews could be something. I just think the gimmick is so dumb. It reminds me of 90s WWE before the Attitude Era. But I am going to have to go with Apollo Crews because, Hardy just, I don't know. Hardy in his previous reigns were a lot better. This is just like dumb now.
Yeah, well, let's just hope that, and be thankful that Apollo Crews, he didn't get given the whole Saba Simba thing. He brought in the accent, which was
I love Saba Simba, man.
A reverse Kofi Kingston, but thankfully that didn't happen. We're going to move on to match number 4, and we have The Miz against Kevin Owens. The Miz, like Jeff Hardy, held the title numerous times before this area that we're looking at, because if we look at it, November 15th, nope, I can go back up a slip it. April 4th, 2016, he won it on Raw from Zack Ryder. And that was a brand extension, return of the title exclusive to SmackDown brand following the 2016 draft. By that time, he'd already been 4-time Intercontinental Champion. But during this time that we're looking at it, he would end up losing it to Dolph Ziggler over on SmackDown on October 9th after holding it for 188 days. Then he'd win it back from Dolph Ziggler on November 15th, 2016, holding it for 49 more days before losing to Dean Ambrose on a SmackDown show January 3rd. But then over on Raw, when the title got moved over there, The Miz ended up winning it June 4th on Extreme Rules, because he also got sent over in the draft. And it was in a match that involved Ambrose being disqualified if he had lost it, and he would lose the title. Then he lost it, The Miz did, after 169 days to Roman Reigns. So you got 3 title reigns right there in this section, and we're looking at almost 400 days as champion. And then you're looking at his opponent in this bracket, Kevin Owens. He won his first title, or that was his second one, should I say, on February 15th, 2016, from Dean Ambrose. And this was part of a fatal 5-way, including Tyler Breeze, Stardust, and Dolph Ziggler. And he lost it to Zack Ryder at WrestleMania 32 after holding it for only 48 days. Looking further down the list, and I don't see his name popping up again because he ended up going after the Universal title and the WWE Championship. So a very short reign for Owens. I love the guy, but compared to The Miz's 3 title reigns, 400 days-ish, I got to go with The Miz. A lot of people have him underrated so much, but I'm going with him. Steven.
Oh, it's The Miz. How do you compete 400 and something days? So it's The Miz.
Well, I got to say, getting it in a fatal 5-way is pretty damn impressive. The Miz can't seem to keep the damn thing. He's at it 8 times now. To me, it's a little tougher than that. I think The Miz has, he has impressive ones at 188 and 169, but his others are meh. And look how many people he's lost it to. But of course, I have to go with Miz because the total is 468 in that. Although that's way too high. Anyway, so whatever his is, because I can't count, I'm going to still go with the Miz.
Excellent. So Miz moving on to face Apollo Crews, and we're got Big E versus Sami Zayn.
All right. So, sorry. Big E won it December 22nd, 2020 on SmackDown in a lumberjack match. Technically, this is the second reign. Lasts 107 days. He won it from Sami Zayn, lost it to Apollo Crews. Sami Zayn won it twice in this time frame. March 8th, 2020 at Elimination Chamber on a 3-on-1 with Nakamura and Cesaro. First reign, 65 days. This is where... So... He stripped of the title May 12th of 2020 because of COVID and non-compete. So he wasn't in the country because I believe he was in Canada. Didn't feel comfortable competing because of COVID. He then, September 27th, 2020, he's back. He won it at Clash of the Champions in a triple threat ladder match with Jeff Hardy and AJ Styles. Second reign, lasted 89 days, lost it to Big E. 2 times. He held it for 154 days. I'm going Sami Zayn because I don't think WWE should have ever stripped him of the title because of being COVID, but I get why they had to. But yeah, so I'm going Sami Zayn.
Okay, and Jonesy.
You make a lot of great points there, but I'm going with Big E because the fact is that Sami Zayn last lost it to Big E. And hey, Sami Zayn can't make it across the border. Boo-hoo on him. If he really loved that IC belt, he would have found a way.
Well, I'm going to definitely differ with you on that one, Jonesy. And we had a very controversial show when we were doing a podcast before, where people thought it was not fair that he got taken away from him and thought he was going to get tossed to the side. But considering how he ended up winning the title back, that 3-way ladder match, and he brought the handcuffs and cuffed Jeff Hardy with his earlobe and cuffed AJ to the ladder and climbed up and got it. That was such a great way of getting that title back. I loved it. He did not get kicked to the curb and forgotten, and it played into his whole character. So I am definitely going Sami Zayn. As much as I would have loved to see Big E with a bigger run, I'm hoping him losing the title to Apollo Crews is setting him up eventually to go for the Universal title with a Money in the Bank win or something like that. So I hope bigger things for Big E, but Sami Zayn is getting my vote to move on. And we have Dolph Ziggler versus Dean Ambrose. Jonesy.
I think this one is quite easy. Dolph Ziggler, he October 9th, 2016 at No Mercy, his 5th reign at 37 days, and it was from The Miz, and it was title versus career match. I'm not sure who he lost it to. Who did he lose it to?
I don't have the note in front of me at the moment.
That's okay. So June 18th, 2018 on Raw, his 6th reign. He won her back, held it for 61 days, won it from Rollins, and lost it to Rollins. So his total was 98 days, holding it twice during that time period. We got Dean Ambrose. He won it 3 times during this time period at a total of 244 days. He won it at TLC back in December 13th, 2015, and it carried on into our timeline at 64 days. Whether you do the math or not, he still held it at least twice as long as Ziggler has, but he's had to have it 3 times. He won that from Kevin Owens January 3rd, 2017 on SmackDown. His 2nd reign, 152 days. He won it from The Miz, and hey, he also lost it to The Miz. December 16th, his 3rd reign, 2018 TLC. The reign only lasted 28 days. He got it from Rollins, but lost it to Lashley. If Dolph Ziggler would have held it a little bit longer, even if he had 1 reign at 100 days, because of his past of having it so many times, but I got to go with Dean Ambrose. And I think like Dean Ambrose is a perfect guy to put that IC belt on, give it to a gritty guy for once, a guy that's like, doesn't look like he should be winning a belt, but he does, because he's Dean Ambrose.
Okay. Well, I think Steven's going to have to break a tie because I like Dean Ambrose with his reign and stuff like that. And unfortunately, Mitch, the potted plant, I think was part of that one, though. But you got Dolph Ziggler. He is basically the HBK and Mr. Perfect combined into one person, being Dolph Ziggler. So I'm giving my vote to Dolph. And Steven, you get to break the tie.
Well, I guarantee you it's not going to be the stupid idiot who went to AEW. It's Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, so that's how we're doing this now. Okay. We're not doing it like horse races. There's no horse races.
Wait till the next one.
Oh, this next one is going to be fun because I can do this one in no time flat with the fact that Zack Ryder is the next one going against Bobby Lashley, the almighty one. Zack Ryder has one and only Intercontinental Championship title. He won it April 3rd at WrestleMania 32 in a 7-way ladder match that also involved Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, Stardust, Sin Cara, and The Miz. The former champion was Kevin Owens. And Zack Ryder made his dream come true, climbed that ladder, took the belt down, even got to pose with Razor Ramon backstage and reenact a picture that he had as a child with Razor, but he lost it to The Miz the next day on Raw. And he's going against Bobby Lashley, who beat Dean Ambrose for it January 14th, 2019 on Raw. It was a triple threat match that also involved Seth Rollins. He held it for 34 days or 33, depending on your lineage, WWE, or reality, and lost it to Finn Balor at Elimination Chamber on February 17th. And it was a 2-on-1 handicap match featuring Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley as partners. So right there, was it 34 days versus 1 day? Bobby Lashley, the almighty, is moving on for myself. Steven?
Are you really going to ask me? Really?
We need to verify.
Do you really think I'm going to vote for a fucking guy who held it for less than 24 hours, who should never have held the title?
Woo woo woo.
He should be woo-woo-wooing off the world. Okay, so it's Bobby Lashley.
But he does have Chelsea Green. Jonesy, make it clean sweep.
No, it's not. Even though Bobby Lashley, I'm sorry, Bobby Lashley, hoop-de-doo, he didn't hold it for very long either time. And the fact of he shouldn't even be holding that title. Like, why do they give IC belt? I understand doing it once in a while. You give it to a big guy or whatever to make it seem like, oh my God, how are we going to ever win it from that big guy? I think it's a waste of an IC title change, especially twice. Come on. Zack Ryder, hey, he earned that IC. For some reason, they wanted to give him a belt and go, here you go. Even though, yeah, it's stupid. It should have been more than one day. Especially when you do a ladder match and all the big hype. But it was at WrestleMania. He won it at WrestleMania. How many guys on this list won it at WrestleMania? There might be 2 or 3 of them. Okay, but so I got to go with a Ryder on this, even though it was kind of a joke for him to hold it, but only because they chose for him not to hold it long. So I got to go with Ryder on this. I think he got boned.
And you threw him a vote for his effort. So who says you don't get participation awards? Roman
I expect this from you guys, because the last one you definitely didn't go by math, and this one you go the opposite, back to using math. Like, what the hell? Come on.
Sometimes my raging hate just overwins any sort of math. We're lucky that COVID Jericho's not in this, because it would have just been me screaming for 2 hours just because I could.
So, Steven,
do I have this last one? Is it me?
It's you.
All right.
Reigns and
we're paying attention. So Roman Reigns, November 20th, 2017 on Raw, beat The Miz, lost it to The Miz, held it for 63 days. Finn Balor, February 17th, 2019, Elimination Chamber. He won it on a 2-on-1 handicap versus Lashley and Lio Rush. Held it for 21 days, pinned Rush to win the title, lost to Bobby Lashley. April 7th, 2019, WrestleMania 35, his second reign, lasted 98 days, won it from Lashley, lost it to Nakamura. I'm going Finn Balor. I know I don't like how he won the first one, but I actually think Finn Balor is just a better champion. I would pay to see the Intercontinental title is made more for guys who can work, and I don't. Especially back in 2017, I didn't find Roman Reigns any good. He's growing on me slowly and slowly, but I think Finn Balor is better.
Jonesy.
Oh, that's me. Hey, I was kind of thinking there that a lot of these guys, see, I hate this, the fact that why is a guy like Roman Reigns getting the IC belt after he's won the world championship?
Yeah, but I don't think he won the world championship back in 2017 yet. I don't think he was what he is now. I think he was part of the Shield still. I don't think he had done.
No, the Shield already broke up by then, 2017. I'm pretty darn sure. But even if not, have you noticed that the IC belt now, there's really not much a difference between it and a lot of the other belts, because now it seems that a world champion can lose the world champion and to go hold an IC. You have certain belts for certain weight classes, so you don't have this stupid, how is it a heavyweight guy is allowed to even compete? Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. They've ruined the IC belt as far as I'm concerned. And I am going to go with Finn Balor on that, because Roman Reigns, he never needed the IC belt.
Yeah, I can agree they never needed the IC belt. I'm going with Finn Balor, but to kind of answer your question and looking at some of the time frame, if I'm not mistaken, some of these guys holding the IC title was almost acknowledging them as the current champion because it was being held by, say, somebody like a Goldberg or a Brock Lesnar, who were part-time, so the belt wasn't there. So then,
But they had the other belt. Oh no, they didn't. They didn't yet. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But no, even with the split in brands, your SmackDown brand needed to have a champion that was always there, and it could be they're having your AJ Styles and your Roman Reigns and stuff like that, who would be world title holders, but when they're being held by part-timers and not around, that's where they put those belts on. Normally it is for a worker, it's a worker belt, it's for the lighter guys, and you see people like Sami Zayn and Dolph Ziggler and The Miz holding them, but the time frame might dictate why the guys like Roman Reigns, as you were questioning, were holding that title. So that concludes the first round.
So we had Seth Rollins beat AJ Styles 3-0. Shinsuke Nakamura beat Braun Strowman 3-0. Apollo Crews beat Jeff Hardy 3-0. The Miz beat Kevin Owens 3-0. Sami Zayn beat Big E 2-1. Dolph Ziggler beat Dean Ambrose 2-1. Bobby Lashley beat Zack Ryder 2-1. Finn Balor beat Roman Reigns 3-0, setting up Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Apollo Crews versus The Miz. Sami Zayn versus Dolph Ziggler. Bobby Lashley versus Finn Balor.
So any real surprises in eliminating in the first round?
No. I think no.
Yeah, there's a big surprise. Come on.
You thought Ambrose, definitely? Ziggler over Ambrose is your surprise?
Yes, I believe that's the one I was bitching about.
Yeah.
There's been a few.
It's all good. So we move on to round number 2, and we have Jonesy with Shinsuke Nakamura and Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I'm going with Shinsuke over on this. Yes, he only held it once, but it was at 201 days. Seth Rollins, who's a great worker, but at 71 days, 119 days, they're decent, really, in today's age. At least 100 days is good. So you had the 2 up, and it's pretty close. Both reigns at 100 days. But I got to go with Shinsuke. I think that's definitely a guy that if they're not going to give the world belt to, then he should be owning that IC belt.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Nakamura as well. He is a guy that I think should have probably beat AJ Styles in the nut versus nut shot WrestleMania. It should have been not that and been a classic match, but at least he did become IC champion and held that really well. Steven.
Clean sweep. Clean sweep.
Excellent. So I mark that one. And I have Apollo Crews versus The Miz. Jonesy pointed out how many times The Miz had lost and who he lost it to and stuff like that. But he also held it over 400 days, and we're only just over 40 days with Apollo Crews. Is his title reign going to be like The Miz? Not with the way it's going, I don't see. He's going to hold on to it a little bit longer, maybe drop it by SummerSlam. But The Miz has proven after all these years of being with WWE, he is the really reliable guy. Whether he's holding it and transitioning the title over to somebody else or carrying it for longer periods of time. So I'm going with The Miz. Steven.
Oh, The Miz. This is easy. Apollo Crews, yeah, he's could be something, but not there yet.
Jonesy, is it a clean sweep or are you throwing Crews a vote?
No, Crews doesn't get nothing. The Miz, yes, he's lost it many times, but the amount of days, it is 468. Added it up again. That's a big chunk of time because it's only over, what, a 5 or 6 year period?
5 year period.
Yeah, so he's held it for like a year and maybe a third. So he's held it about 20% of the time amongst all these guys. So it's pretty good.
Yep. Okay, so he's moving on to face Nakamura. Next matchup is Sami Zayn against Dolph Ziggler. Steven.
I'm going Dolph Ziggler. I don't know. I think it really comes down to me who I'd like to watch in a match right now, and it's going to be Dolph Ziggler.
Jonesy.
I'll let Shawn decide this one. I'm going to go with Sami Zayn. I've never been a huge fan of Ziggler, but he is a good talent. There's no denying that. When he first came in, I swear he was Sid Vicious's midget, especially with the hair that he had. But Sami Zayn, I'm entertained when he wrestles, so I got to go with him. I'd rather see him wrestle over Dolph.
I think, unfortunately, Dolph has been overused and somewhat abused. And there's somewhat guys like Dolph Ziggler and Randy Orton that they've been there for so long that how can I miss you when you won't leave type deal. I love El Generico, Sami Zayn. He's doing that whole martyr thing and they being persecuted really well. And yeah, I got to go with Sami moving on. And that gives us our next matchup, Bobby Lashley against Finn Balor. Jonesy. Where's it me?
It's Jonesy, right?
Yeah, it's Jonesy.
I'm first. Fantastic. They've both held it twice. 33-27. Wow. There's not a huge difference between them. I mean, Balor did at least hold it for almost 100 days. I'm going to go with Balor because, again, I think Bobby Lashley is just too big to be going after an IC belt. It's almost insulting. In Finn Balor, mind you, he's damn well tall. At least he's a leaner guy that I could see having this belt. And then he hasn't won the big one yet, has he?
Yeah. He won it, but he got hurt.
So I'm going to go with Finn there.
Universal Champion. So Finn Balor, I am also going to go with Finn Balor because I think he would have been interesting to see as the first Universal Champion, and he got derailed because of that buckle bomb on the outside. And Lashley, it just seems out of place. I like where he is right now, being the dominant force that he is, and finally being up in the main event. But yeah, I'm going Balor. Is it a clean sweep, Steven?
Yes, it is.
There we go. So we bring this back up. And
all right, let's see. So we had Shinsuke Nakamura beat Seth Rollins 3-0. The Miz beat Apollo Crews 3-0. Sami Zayn beat Dolph Ziggler 2-1. Finn Balor beat Bobby Lashley 3-0, setting up our semifinals of Nakamura, The Miz, Zayn, Balor. Nothing really surprises me so far.
it seems to be playing out really well. Jonesy, your thoughts?
Not much. No thoughts here.
Okie dokie. So then we'll bring up the first match of the third round, and that is Nakamura against Miz. This one is probably the tough one that probably could have gone to the finals. I said so many times about Miz being 400 plus days, and Nakamura I think is half that. But I just think Nakamura might have had more of a substantial run compared to the Miz. So I am going to go with Shinsuke.
And I'm going to make Jonesy break the tie because I'm going The Miz. Too many days.
Yeah, that was going to be the tough part.
I understand voting for Shinsuke, but but I have to go horse racing on this one and go with The Miz because this was his 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th reign. And at this time to get 2 reigns at 188 days, and sorry, 1 reign at 188 days, another one at 167, that's pretty damn impressive. Yes, Shinsuke's got the longest reign, but I think The Miz fits the IC belt quite well. I've never seen him as a heavyweight, even though he can wrestle heavyweights and he can sure talk like them, actually better than them, I think. So I got to give it to The Miz.
Okay, so Miz is moving on to the finals. But who is he going to see in there? Is it Sami Zayn or Finn Balor?
I'm voting Finn Balor. I think Finn Balor is who I'd want to see. Their reigns are pretty much equal, so I'm going Finn Balor.
Jonesy.
Well, I figure you're going to go with Sami Zayn. See, I haven't watched enough of Finn Balor to be a fan of his. I've seen more of him actually in NXT, I think. I think either one of these guys, but the guy who's best going to be able to defeat The Miz would be Sami Zayn. I'm just looking at their total days again. I got to go with Sami Zayn.
Okay. So I get to break this tie. As much as no, this one is tough.
But hey, don't worry, because we know who's going to win it.
Yeah, but I think Finn Balor carried the title really well. Sami got interrupted by COVID. Him gaining it back was amazing, but Finn Balor did it in front of fans. He did it and made the title look good. I'm going Finn Balor. As much as I do like Sami Zayn. So, Steven, last recap.
So we had The Miz beat Shinsuke 2-1 and Finn Balor beat Sami Zayn 2-1, setting up a finals of The Miz and Finn Balor.
Excellent. So I'm just getting the banners here ready just in case. And Jonesy gets to tell us about the finals.
Well, the finals, we have The Miz, who is probably going to win this whole darn thing. He had 4 reigns during this time period of 2016 to 2021. I mean, he's won it on Raw twice, SmackDown, and only once on pay-per-view during this reign. Finn Balor, he's won it on 2 big stages, Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania 35. But I mean, I got to go with The Miz as far as who I'd rather watch defending the IC belt, be declared the best of that time. It's probably going to be The Miz.
Okay. So, I guess our winner is awesome. The Miz, too many days to hold up. He was great for transitioning people as well. Balor, I just said a moment ago, carried the belt really well, but Miz is taking the win on this. Was it a clean sweep, Steven?
Hold on 1 second. Uno momento, por favor. Uno momento, por favor.
I know.
Special K. Quiet on the set. Can we please have quiet on the set?
Awesome! I came to Let's not get a straight.
Is that a Bailey buddy you have?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, but I gotta go.
Okay, thanks for joining us. We will see you hopefully tomorrow on the podcast. Have a good night.
Okay.
So, thank you, Stephen, for being a part of this. Still some stuff going on family-wise and health-wise. So, wish everybody on his end good health, and hopefully things work out well. Jonesy, thank you for being a part of this. We have history coming up tomorrow.
We do have history coming up tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun, as always, to go through what kind of happened in the past on the Monday Night Wars, and of course the births and the deaths. And tonight we found out that The Miz, I thought if I was going to put money on it, if I was going to bet, okay, I would have put money on Miz. And of course, I got to thank, of course, as always, Coolbet for being our sponsor.
Yep, Coolbet. I want to remind everybody to stay cool and bet responsibly. So, if people were putting their wagers on this show and had picked The Miz to go all the way through, they would have gotten their payout for sure. I don't think we're going to be able to connect Fantasy Warfare Tournament with Coolbet in that regards, but it's always fun to think about what's going on. Just want to remind everybody that, as I said, this week in history is going to happen tomorrow at noon. Unfortunately, we will be covering the memories of Owen Hart because of his passing on May 23rd, and that falls into this episode. So we'll talk about memories of Owen Hart, along with other birthdays that are going on. I'm loading up the pictures this evening and making sure that the visuals are available. Then Thursday night at 8 p.m., we are going to have the regular podcast. Look at the news in the world of wrestling, some releases, some statements that have been made by people like Patrick Clark, and also look forward to AEW's Double or Nothing pay-per-view coming up on the weekend. But, of course, then we're going to only do a slight preview of it because they haven't had the go-home show for AEW Dynamite until Friday night. But then Sunday afternoon, we will break down the pay-per-view before the pay-per-view happens on Sunday and give you our thoughts as part of the Scumbags Prediction League presented by Coolbet. And you can enter your points and predictions by going to scumbagswrestling.ca. So we have all that going on. As I said, 4 shows this week because of the pay-per-view. And we want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. We're part of the podcasting network for Ontario Indie Podcasting Network, the Genres Podcasting Network over in the UK. You can listen to the podcast on Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or anywhere else you get your podcasts from. And, of course, watching this in video form on YouTube and Facebook. So thank you, each and every one of you. If you have suggestions or want to be a part of our show, because the summer's going to get busy and somebody might not be available every week, you can be a part of it and take a chair in our panel. We can even have up to 7 people, and more. As long as we have an odd number, I can even sit out. But if you want to be a part of the show, let us know. Send us a message at our email, scumbagswrestling@gmail.com, or any of our social medias, and we can have you on board for that. So, Jonesy, thank you again, and we'll talk to you tomorrow for This Week in History.
If you want a variety of wrestling news and history, look no further than the Scumbags Wrestling family of shows. On Wednesday nights at 6 p.m., join Shawn, Steven, and Jonesy as we look for the best of the best and break it all down in a unique tournament format on Fantasy Warfare Tournament. Then, Thursdays at noon, take a look back at the rich history of our great sport with This Week in History. Relive title changes, births, deaths, and some of the best events of all time. Finally, join us for the latest in wrestling news, show results, and predictions Thursday nights at 8 p.m. for the Scumbags Wrestling Podcast. The Scumbags Wrestling can be found on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram, along with our audio versions on Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or anywhere else you get your podcasts from. We're a proud part of the Ontario Indie Wrestling Podcast Network and the Genres Podcast Network.